Scene 1, the perfect arrival. The day the moving van rolled up next door, I was watering my hanging baskets and pretending my marriage hadn't been quietly dying for 3 years. They stepped out of the van like a couple from a catalog. She was flawless, glossy hair, flawless skin, a kind of beauty that felt aggressive. He was handsome too, in that tight-jawed, quiet way. But he hovered behind her like a shadow that didn't quite belong to its owner. I waved. She waved back with a smile so wide it made my cheeks hurt. I liked her instantly, until later that night. At exactly 1:13 a.m., I woke to raised voices through the shared wall. Not arguing, not words, just a short, sharp scream. Then silence. A silence that felt held in place, like someone was pressing it down. The next morning, perfect neighbor smiled at me across the driveway, holding a coffee mug that said "Happy wife, happy life." Not a mark on her. I told myself I imagined it. Seeing 2 cracks in perfection. Over the next week, the image sharpened. She trimmed the lawn twice a day. She baked pies for the cul-de-sac. She complimented everyone a little too much, like she was auditioning for something. Her husband, I barely saw him. He left early, came home late, and every time he walked past her, he flinched just slightly, like he expected to be hit. I told myself I was imagining that too, until I saw the bruise. It was just under his collarbone, a sick purple fingerprint shape, as he loaded groceries into the back of his car. He saw me looking. He quickly pulled his shirt up, and then, quietly, he mouthed, "Please don't. Not don't tell her. Not don't worry. Just don't." I didn't sleep that night. Scene 3, the night visit. The second scream came 4 nights later. This one wasn't hers. It was his. A short, strangled sound, then a crash, then nothing. I stood frozen in my hallway, hand hovering over my phone. I knew what I was supposed to do, what any normal neighbor would do. But something stopped me, a feeling, instinct, something primal, that if I stepped into that house, she'd turn that perfect smile on me next. The next morning, he didn't leave for work. She told me, chirping and cheerful, that he wasn't feeling himself today. I wanted to ask what happened, but the way she looked at me, her eyes didn't blink normally. They snapped shut like shutters. Scene 4, the shattered mask. 2 days later, fate did what fear wouldn't. She asked me to come over. Just for coffee, I insist. Her voice was sugary, but something under it trembled. I didn't want to go, but I also knew this was the closest I'd ever get to knowing the truth. The house was immaculate. Not normal immaculate, surgical immaculate, every surface polished. Every cushion perfectly angled. He sat in the corner like a piece of furniture. Back straight, eyes down. Hands clasped too tightly. She poured coffee with a bright smile, talking nonstop about curtains, about paint colors, about how we women need to stick together. And then, as she handed me my cup, her sleeve slipped. There, on her forearm, carved into her skin in small straight lines, were initials, dozens of them. I recognized one. His. I froze. She saw me see it, and her smile, that perfect practice smile, cracked down the middle. Scene 5, the truth. That night, he knocked on my door, not loudly, not desperately, just quietly. Like he didn't want anyone, especially her, to hear. He didn't ask to come in. He whispered through the crack, "I'm leaving, tonight. Don't tell her, please." I nodded. But as he turned to go, he added, "Don't help me. Don't follow. Don't get involved. She always finds them." Then he left. No suitcase, no car. Just walked into the dark like a man escaping a prison. At 3:27 a.m., I heard the door next door slam. Then her scream, high, furious, vibrating with something inhuman. And then silence. When I looked outside, neither of them were on the street. Scene 6, the move. The next morning, A for sale sign was stabbed into their lawn. She stood on the porch, hair perfect, smile restored, waving at the gardeners like nothing had happened. Her husband? Gone. No trace. When I asked casually, trying to sound normal, she said, "Oh, him. He needed space. You understand." And she looked at me with eyes that were too bright, too sharp, too hungry. I locked my door that night and every night after. Scene 7, the next victim. 2 months later, the house sold. New couple, new smiles. New dog, new life. She brought them a casserole the same day they moved in. And as I watched from my window, I saw it. The new husband flinched exactly the way her old husband did. The casserole dish rattled in her hands as she forced her smile wider. And I knew without a doubt that the perfect woman next door wasn't the victim. She was the predator, and she'd found her next one.